days, dream battles are all the rage. On the big screen, the Avengers have teamed up to battle Thanos in a box office record-shattering event. On the football field, we've seen national teams go against each other at the World Cup. Spoiler, it didn't come home. And in the boxing ring, we've just seen an all-time undefeated boxer in Floyd Mayweather battle a larger-than-life mixed martial artist in Conor McGregor. Sitting in a place that isn't quite the legitimate sporting contest that is the World Cup, or the out-and-out entertainment spectacle of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is professional wrestling, or as Vince McMahon would put it, sports entertainment, damn it. Through the years, we've seen matches that sports or even movies could only dream of promoting. Just try to name another brand of sports or entertainment that can deliver the equivalent of Ali versus Tyson like the WWE did with Hogan versus Rock at WrestleMania 18. It's for this very reason that we as wrestling fans like to fantasize about dream matchups between our all-time favorite in-ring characters, and why the WWE still bring back guys like Sting and Goldberg to fulfill these fantasies. In the current universe of WWE, however, fantasy matchmaking gets no more exciting than imagining what the very best of the NXT roster could do opposite the cream of the crop on WWE Raw and SmackDown. So while the likelihood of a major crossover event between NXT and WWE may seem quite low, we've had to think about what we'd like to see and formulated this list. The only rule, each wrestler can only be used once. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic.com, and these are 10 dream NXT versus WWE matches. Join us! Number 10, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Where else does a list of dream matches start other than with an era-defying tag match between two great sets of former Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions that are each flourishing in their own right now that they're in WWE? Fish and O'Reilly have been running roughshod over NXT since their debut on the brand as part of the Undisputed Era, whereas Owens and Zayn have long had the backing of Triple H both in the developmental brand and on the main roster, even working as part of a headlining match at this year's WrestleMania. Interestingly, Fish, O'Reilly and Owens are all former Ring of Honor World Champions, with Zayn being the only man of the four to never capture that championship, a dynamic that could make for an interesting backstory heading into a match that would undoubtedly be of the highest quality and the quickest of paces. Each of the four men is similar in height, though vastly different in build, and their combined talents for strike-based or technique-based offense could make for some incredible sequences. Above all else, however, each of these four men know how to tell effective stories within the ring, and whether the feud was professional or personal, a match involving these four men would undoubtedly be red hot. A surefire dream NXT versus WWE match. Number 9, Velveteen Dream versus Randy Orton. It's no secret that Randy Orton can be a bit of a dick. The third generation wrestler, 13-time world champion, has built a reputation in recent years for attacking fellow professionals via Twitter, and he's had his fair share of personal issues plague his rise to the top of the WWE. On his day though, he can be fantastic. Think back to Orton vs. Punk at WrestleMania 27, or his performances in his feuds with Mick Foley, and you'll remember a different, more vicious Randy Orton. The sort of Viper that wouldn't like the type of ideals the Velveteen Dream would insist on bringing into his life. Imagine this match as a potential retread of the infamous Goldust and Razor Ramon feud of the mid-90s, only much less homophobic and actually celebratory of Dream's sexual ambiguity. Even if Orton was uncomfortable being portrayed in such a negative light as a heel, the option would remain to have Dream play that role through a developing obsession with Mr. RKO that would culminate in the sort of match that, if Orton was to be invested, would feature some awesome in-ring action and a lot of top-notch character moments that would make this match more akin to Dream vs. Black than Orton vs. Jinder. A clash of personalities we wouldn't know how much we had wanted to see until it happened. Number 8, Tommaso Ciampa versus Dean Ambrose in a street fight. It's easy to get caught up in Ciampa's feud with Gargano as being the be-all and end-all for Ciampa's character, because he himself acts like it is. But beyond the good versus evil dynamic could lie a main roster feud of villain versus anti-hero, evil versus crazy, Ciampa versus Ambrose. Ciampa as a character is presented as having a sick satisfaction in hurting people or destroying their dreams. He's a true psychopath. But how do you truly hurt a person who laughs as they're being dismantled? How do you destroy the dreams of a wrestler who doesn't seem to have any? These are questions that could prove to be points of interest heading into a match that would, of course, be a street fight. With weapons legal and the possibility of fighting in the crowd, the off-kilter wrestling styles and hit each other the hardest attitudes of Ciampa and Ambrose would be allowed to shine the brightest, with the spots of the match likely reaching cringeworthy proportions of pain. If there are any two NXT and WWE guys who could bring a modern spin to a classic hardcore style, it's these two. Number 7, KASSIUS OHNO versus CESARO. KASSIUS, OHNO, and CESARO are technical masters of the professional wrestling canvas and established storytellers with years of experience and an even greater mutual respect for one another. Some would say that they're arguably the kings of wrestling. These former tag team partners have had show-stealing match after show-stealing match together, yet have never crossed paths on WWE TV. Not only is each man a fan favorite in-ring technician with years of experience, but their history together is enough to explore in of itself. OHNO and CESARO would be a technical masterpiece that would arc back to their pre-WWE days, its spots reminiscent of vital moments in their respective careers, and their in-ring chemistry unlike anything we've seen since Gargano and Ciampa. A potential show-stealing encounter that we would remember for a long time. Number 6, Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey. It's no secret that the women's division of NXT is ransacked almost every time there are a slew of call-ups to the main roster, and as such, the Dream NXT versus main roster WWE matches of many women's wrestling fans have already come to pass. But in current NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler, the WWE have a ready-made and credible opponent to their biggest signing of late, Rowdy Ronda Rousey. Imagine a feud where the two good friends begin with an exhibition match, but after a frustrating encounter, Baszler attacks a victorious Rousey, setting forth a series of high-profile and incredibly aggressive matches. Baszler could bring a level of believable brutality that isn't present in many a current-day WWE superstar, and would seem to be more of a physical threat to Rousey because of her similar MMA background, making for an intriguing story for what would be a match, or series of matches, filled with tough-looking shots, shoot wrestling, and a whole load of brutal-looking submissions. Number 5, Adam Cole versus Seth Rollins. Adam Cole and Seth Rollins are almost the mirror images of one another. Not only are they both long-haired pretty boys with a talent for cutting good promos, but they're also sensational in-ring performers with such similar histories that you could build an entire feud around which guy was the better successor to CM Punk on Ring of Honor TV. And that's what we're all here for, right? CM Punk references? Where Rollins has blazed a path for post-ROH success in the WWE, Cole will surely follow in the years to come, making this match one of the more likely on this list. But imagining both facing off on current form and in the same spots on the card in their respective brands is a prospect worth salivating over. In New Orleans over WrestleMania weekend, Cole was crowned the first ever North American champion, while Rollins earned his first Intercontinental title. And basing a match around title versus title would only increase fan investment and the overall importance of the match, elevating what could only be a fantastic in-ring encounter from two of the very best workers in the company right now. Number 4, Aleister Black versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Are there any two more potent strikers in the world of professional wrestling than Aleister Black and Shinsuke Nakamura? A match between the two would be a battle of almost silent psychopaths intent on kicking the living hell out of each other, and if that doesn't pique your interest, then I don't know what will. Black's kicks, Nakamura's knees, their unique and believable personas clashing during moments of one-upmanship, and their incredible technical abilities tiding over the match's downtime, not that there needs to be any, this is the sort of fight that could be built around a stare down, their badass personas telling the entire story until kick to the head or knee to the face. A simple premise for what would be a fantastic match. Number 3, Ricochet versus AJ Styles. There are few matches that fans have anticipated for the future more than that of Ricochet versus AJ Styles. From the minute Ricochet walked into the Performance Center in Florida, speculation as to where and when this dream encounter will take place has been the topic of fantasy booking discussions the world over. Not only are AJ and Ricochet two of the greatest in-ring high flyers in the modern era, and technical masters with little to no comparison, but they're also central to the revolutionary developments in the North American style of pro wrestling. A match between the pair would likely be 1,000 miles an hour for as long as they were allowed to go for, but each has shown a unique ability to mix such pace and spectacular athleticism with quality storytelling that makes a match like this one of the biggest dream matches in current day WWE. Number 2, Pete Dunne versus Daniel Bryan. Pete Dunne versus Daniel Bryan would be a technical masterpiece. It's as simple as that. Each man has an in-ring style inspired by great British professional wrestlers, not least William Regal, and have perfected their grappling styles to help them overcome their relatively diminutive statures. Yet perhaps the most perfect aspect of this potential dream match is how Dunne and Bryan have lately presented the vastly different personas of the sadistic, conniving mega heel and the cleaner than clean, braver than brave babyface, making a potential Dunne versus Bryan matchup not only the perfect in-ring encounter in terms of technical abilities, but also a damn good story regarding good versus evil, the root of all wrestling storytelling. Can you imagine seeing these two lock up at a big show with a huge storyline behind them? It would be 5 stars all the way. Number 1, Johnny Gargano versus Brock Lesnar. It would be the ultimate David versus Goliath story. The plucky, never-give-up super babyface persona of Johnny Gargano versus the aggressive, larger-than-life, some would say monstrous Brock Lesnar. Johnny Wrestling versus Brock MMA. Johnny's chance at living the dream versus Brock Lesnar's latest pay packet, Brain versus Brawn. Not only would it be a dream match to promote or become excited for, but it would also be a match of the very highest quality, with Lesnar German suplexing Gargano higher than he's ever thrown a person before, only for Gargano to keep coming back and keep coming back. And imagine if Gargano was to win. Imagine a shock roll-up victory, or Gargano simply outlasting Lesnar, his heart and will to succeed overpowering the most established fighter in the WWE. It would be outstanding, a match we'd talk about forever. A truly dreamlike NXT versus WWE encounter. So that's our list. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and you can follow me on Twitter here. If you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Cultaholic. And most importantly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.